Hey, this video contains spoilers for Magic Unleashed, first book in the Arcane Magic series. You have been warned. Do we humans control our emotions, or do our emotions control us? Do you believe in the evil entity living in your basement? Do you think you are being controlled right now? You better start typing in the comments. You have 3 hours. Magic Unleashed is the first book in the Arcane Magic series, where a goddess plays dolls with humans from her man-made prison cell and where people aren't allowed to feel anything. I would be a menace in this world. I feel way too much. Who's with me? We're going to follow characters in 3 different locations, but no worries, it's all connected. The authors put a small letter at the beginning of the book, and when it said it would be a fast-paced story, my brain went... But then I stopped myself because there's a difference between fast-paced and rushed. So we'll see how that went in this video. Or maybe you can go check out for yourself. This is a good one. Are you ready? Here's your ticket to Alpha Magenta. Don't ask questions, just get on my back. Disclaimer. This video is incredibly funny. Real disclaimer. If I sound a bit weird, it's because I'm sick. Yes, I've been getting sick a lot lately. And yes, I managed to get a bad cold and temporarily lose my voice in a 30-degree weather. I think the gods are trying to silence me. Not today though. I have some things to say, so here we go. Part 1. Christiana and the Plant. As mentioned, all parts are connected, but I'm starting with this one because it felt a little bit on the side of everything else. We're in Sandom, the kingdom of... sand, the desert. We're in the desert. Ignoring the violent sandstorms for now, let's take a look at the king of this place. I'm sure he's a good and well-adjusted man. Can you smell the sarcasm? Of course he's not. At least this time we don't have a tyrant on our hands. Kind of, not really. His sickness is what gets him to get super moody and give crap orders. Not his fault, is it? Now, what kind of sickness makes you this dumb and grumpy? The kind where an evil force is involved. Well, we're not sure of anything yet. All we know is that the king is marked with the sigil of Zoda, the god of death. How did this happen, you're asking? Do I look like I know? I do have a suspect though. Dr. What's her name? Sorry, let me check my notes. Dr. Legrim. She takes care of the king. Add quotes there. Actually, who knows? She might really be trying to help, but how did she not notice the sigil? Christiana did, and she finds out more when she goes snooping around a restricted area of the hospital. Now get ready for this one because I was not ready and you are not ready. She finds a plant. Not just any plant, of course. It's red and glowing and ominous, and it's behind thick glass in case you get the marvelous idea of touching it. We don't know what it is. Maybe they do and they won't tell us. Keep in mind this is happening at the hospital. Told you the doctor was sketch. Just kidding. We do learn later on that the plant is actually from the Rift, and it was gifted to the hospital for research purposes for the science. This is not the most concerning part though. No. What is this plant? Where does it come from? What does it do? These are all fair questions, but I got a better one for you. What the hell is it doing in Christiana's belly? This is not a troll, nor a drill. Christiana, as the king's trader, tends to his duties while he's busy going insane. By the way, do you realize how powerful of a position this is? Surely someone with ill intentions would take advantage of this situation. Thankfully, Christiana over here doesn't seem to be one. And so this one dude tells her, and I quote, "You have something growing inside of you." I read this and I go, please be pregnant with just a normal small baby. But then he adds, "Not like a child. You give off the same energy and smell as, it sounds strange, but as if you had a plant inside of you." This is all some weird alien shit and I don't know what's going on. You know that thing parents tell their child that if you swallow a watermelon seed, a whole ass watermelon will grow in their belly? This feels like it, except it's very real. And how did the plant even get there? Christiana just looked at it and I read about it. Do I have a magical alien plant in my stomach too? Nah, I'm okay. The plant isn't contagious. Christiana has had it since birth, which indicates she probably was experimented on. She fired that doctor. I didn't get to laugh much longer though. Christiana's slightly threatening diplomacy skills end up provoking an incoming war on Sandom. Oopsies! Part 2. Dennis and the Crap Mages. Maybe you read Magic Unleashed, maybe you wrote Magic Unleashed, maybe right now you're like, wait a minute, who the hell is Dennis? There's no Dennis in this book, and you would be right. Dennis's real name is this. It was okay when I read it in my mind, but then I tried saying it aloud and it sounded like I was cursing in Polish. So, I'm sorry, his name is now Dennis. Why Dennis? I don't even know a Dennis. Is your name Dennis? Tag it Dennis. Dennis is at first mostly involved in another character's arc, but it turns out he's got his own little saga, so I'm giving him his personal part in this video. We're on an invisible island with a magic school on it for apprentice mages. Dennis over here is an archmage, the best of the best. He's part of the council, he teaches at this school. What could go wrong? Well, for example, being woken up in the middle of the night because there's a massive fire in the library. You must be really hurt, I know. Forget about the burnt books for now, we'll be back to it. So, a panicked apprentice calls for him and Dennis ends up finding a dead body in some closet. I didn't think this would turn to a murder mystery, but it did, and I am pleased. I'm not pleased though with how the council, the same council Dennis is part of, blames him for the murder. Doesn't even make sense, you dipshit. But making sense isn't really their objective here. Two of the council members are either accomplices or incredibly gullible, not to say stupid. And the last one, Mage Ethan, is after Dennis. He really wants to get him and I don't know why. They're supposed to be longtime friends. Other people are involved, like that apprentice from the beginning who was obviously forced to lie, and this random woman who, thank goodness, was caught trying to plant the murder weapon in Dennis's room. He's obviously being framed, and I'm glad this judge woman was very smart at Dennis's trial, though this situation is stupid enough to not require that high of an IQ, really. The real question is, why? Ethan's behavior is a big mystery. Is he under the influence of the evil goddess that's imprisoned around here? Did he make a deal with her? Is he just a bad person? Doesn't matter anymore, I suppose, because Dennis wins. But this isn't over. As if this whole ordeal weren't enough, he has to run after a fool of an ex-apprentice who eloped with his lover, a boy he spends too much time and effort protecting, while also agreeing to offer this boy's sister to the local evil goddess as some sort of sacrifice. It's complicated. We'll be back to it. The crap this man has to go through. I mean, poor Dennis. I've come to really like him. I wish he were my grandpa. Part 3. Elves and Murders. This is the first time I encounter elves in a fantasy book. I know, I'm kind of surprised too. And I was excited. But these elves are unexpectedly underwhelming. We follow Dramna, master assassin who teaches a bunch of newbies the art of killing. How freaking cool is that? I was so excited when Dramna, along her friend, colleague, I forgot his name, got summoned by the local god speaker for a special mission. You got a lot of those in your neighborhood? Because the one thing that gives me daily quests is my to-do list. The very same list I never look at. Today, the god speaker wants the two elves to go murder a specific person. I sound thrilled about it because, ooh, drama. And also, I know the target, but we'll be back to it. Turns out the mission is a disaster from start to finish. Dramna panics. Oh no, but I'm getting married soon with my hot elf BF. I can't leave for that long. I need to warn him at least, lest he replaces me. So she hops on a horse and gallops on slippery ice and almost falls to her death while the horse goes spiraling into the void. Love the passion, but I'm less impressed by you now. The circus goes on when Dramna and her friend colleague start their journey on a ship. To avoid being cursed and sink to the depths of the ocean, you've got to pray to Niveen, or her submarine spawns will come after the captain and his crewmates and their mother. I repeat, you've got to pray. Right, Dramna? Right? Oh shit, she didn't. I'm looking at you too, Niveen. One person doesn't pray to you, and this is how you react? What a drama queen. Funniest part, or perhaps the worst, is that others paid for Dramna's mistake with their lives. I wouldn't be mad at her. I would have forgotten too. If our friend colleague wasn't impaled with a tentacle. I'm so upset. He was fun, and he had a family, and they were cute, and his kids were waiting for him to come back. This is such bullshit. I'm upset because I care, which is a good kind of upset, at least for the authors. It's like, you ruining my life. Good job and thanks a lot. Dramna keeps going. She even comes in contact with the target, but she gets injured and ultimately fails. She doesn't even get an assassination attempt. Master assassin, they said. What are you doing? Hold on, why am I even rooting for the elven assassins? Yeah. Let's go find out. Part 4. The Edgelord and the Evil Goddess. Boy oh boy, here we are. The main character and his main quest, because this book is mostly about him actually. And I'm not sure I like it. Meet Ugh, why did you have to call him that? I struggle with R sounds in English, and you gave him two. I pronounce it roar. So, as if I were Katy Perry, you're gonna hear me roar a lot in this video. So, Roar is an apprentice at the Mage Academy. Oopsies, sorry, I'm being told in my earpiece that he left apprenticing behind to become a scholar and essentially just roam the school library all day. Honestly, goals. If only he didn't have anger management issues. Cause you see, when your magic system relies on emotions, we can't be having that. The anger management issues, I mean. But Roar takes it a bit farther and gets rid of his emotions altogether. Feelings? Useless. Friends? Overrated. Existence? What for? Putting aside magic, I think Roar is just 15-year-old me. More seriously, I couldn't help but identify with Roar here, as despicable as he can get. Quote, he was never certain what other people meant though. Life would be so much simpler if everyone, like him, just spoke their mind. End quote. I always say I'm socially dumb, and this is what I mean. People love playing mind games and saying words while meaning other words, and so I just stand there clueless. And people are weirded out by me even when I make an effort to appear friendly. Congrats, Roar. We're both in this together. When it comes to feelings, Roar makes a small exception for Rosalind. He's in love with her, but shh, don't say that in front of him. He will pout. Oh look, another exception for the elven assassin who tried to murder them just now. Roar felt all the feelings and burned the enemy, as well as the entire library. Yep. Told you we'd be back to it, and picturing them books turned to ashes still hurts just the same. Unbeknownst to Roar, he's now targeted by them elves. Remember Dramna? Yeah, she's supposed to come over, kick his butt, and retrieve the elven weapon he stole, but we know how that went. Ah, forgot to mention, Rosalind is sick, and Roar is obsessed with healing her somehow. Except the mages don't seem to care. They're like, yeah, we'll take her to the hospital tomorrow, maybe next week, we'll see. She's dying! Roar and I yell in unison. They put Roar in a cell? Time out for burning centuries of knowledge, you rascal. But Rascal's got some ideas, bad ones, and I'm here for the fun. It's time to introduce Otano, goddess of torture and wind, captured long ago from the realm of the dark gods, also known as the Rift, to be brought here and be imprisoned. Is it dumb? Yes, very. So Roar waits till the day of the vault charge. It's kind of like a big party where everyone is drunkenly happy to strengthen Otano's prison. She feeds on negative emotions, you see. Basically, whatever you do, don't be sad or mad that day. Roar, I said don't be— Oh, okay, we're doing this. Roar flees his prison cell, grabs Rosalind, steals some kind of boat, and off they go on their way to Skycell. I genuinely wonder if this wouldn't have gone faster if Roar just waited one more day for Rosalind to be transferred to the bigger town's hospital as Dennis promised, because now not only are they in big trouble, but they also gotta run all the way while Rosalind coughs up blood every 5 minutes. This makes for quite an eventful trip, especially when they end up scooping up an ember dwarf on the way. Roar at first hates him, mostly because he stinks. But wouldn't you believe it? They actually become friends by the end. No joke, I love their dynamics and the way they've come to enjoy each other's company. Now let me speedrun the rest a little. The trio is chased after by the mage police, elves, and Dennis himself. Thankfully, the latter catches up and tells Roar he needs to go to the Temple of the Arcane, the place where apprentices take a test to either become certified archmages or die. Listen, Dennis did his best to negotiate with that crap council. This was the best outcome. After escaping a murderous sandstorm and shaking off the mage police, we finally make it to the Skycell hospital where we drop Rosalind. I just hope she doesn't die, because turns out she's afflicted with whatever Otano did to her, and I doubt the hospital has a cure for that. Roar and his dwarf friend make it to the temple. I won't get into details here, but Roar goes in alone, and let's just say he gets to relive a bunch of childhood trauma and create a whole new batch for himself. In the chaos, he also discovers that Dennis is his uncle. We now know why Dennis is so attached to Roar. Mystery solved. But Roar also discovers that Dennis is ready to sacrifice Finana. Nope. Sorry, that's a different person. Fianna, his sister, to Otano. That's some family drama ready to occur. I'm gonna take a moment to comment on the magic system here. As I said, it's based on emotions. This is the second time I see it, and I'm still rather confused about it. Cause after all, how would you manage to channel the appropriate emotion at the right time? Am I the only one finding emotions to be uncontrollable? Take the fight with the elven assassin in the beginning. Every time Roar had to stop to think of a memory that would cause him to to feel sadness or disgust or anger to attack his opponent, I couldn't help but imagine the assassin just standing there waiting for him to gather enough anger, just like villains do during a magical girl transformation. Cause picking the right feelings and avoid them being corrupted by other unwelcome ones surely would take some time, and I doubt you have much of that during battle. This ain't turn-based combat, even though you call them first and second and third level spells like we're in some D&D setting. I know I keep mentioning D&D in these reviews, but come on. Tell me I channel my third level spell of disgust to make them puke their guts out. Doesn't sound like something you'd do in a D&D campaign. I know I would, because I make sure to pick all the silly spells out there. Anyway, Roar goes through the Tower of Air, Water, and Fire and ultimately passes the test. But at what cost? Otano intervened during that test. Roar and I both worried about the consequences because isn't that cheating? Surviving and receiving his Archmage certificate and getting skeleton arms is cool and all, but Roar is now marked not only by Otano, but also by Leica, the, quote, dwarven champion who ascended to become the wielder of wrath, end quote. These two have some history. Rewind the tape, please. Otano messed with the desert wind multiple times to wreak havoc, so the mages tracked her all the way inside the rift. They discovered she held powerful Leica imprisoned there. An alliance was forged with the dwarf, and thanks to pure arcane magic and enraged Leica literally biting Otano and feeding on her power, he eventually got free, only to be put to sleep by the mages and buried somewhere. Betrayal, I say! Otano was now weakened, and this is how she ended up imprisoned herself under the now burnt library on the mage's invisible island. End of the history lesson. This is messed up, especially that now Roar is pawned to both Otano and Leica. Who knows what's going to happen now, but I feel sad for Roar. It's really hard to like him, at least at first, and I'm still not sure I even like him now, but I do feel for him. Whatever feeling this is, maybe I'm glad he wasn't killed by those elves after all. Magic was unleashed, alright. You know, I started reading Magic Unleashed with a level of expectation. Maybe because I somehow sensed it would be good, or maybe I was just hoping it would. In either case, I was not disappointed. I think the most impressive part about this book is how complete it felt. With its steady pace, its magic that I'm still a little skeptical of, but works nonetheless, its world building introducing us to 3 separate places where we follow drastically different kinds of races and beliefs, and cherry on top, the complex characterization making our cast grey. I mean, just look at Roar. He's a ball of greyness. Me not hating him in the end just shows how good of a job the writers did. Cause trust me, disliking Roar was very easy. All of this, my friends, in under 500 pages. How often does this happen? Not very often, let me tell you. Now, I'm making it sound like perfection, but I did take off 1 star from my final rating. Mostly because Goodreads doesn't allow 4.5, but also because the ending left me with mixed feelings. I guess I wanted it to end with a bang. Or perhaps just for it to feel like I had some closure, because the way it ended, it felt like an interruption of sorts, a too sudden one for my liking. But the cliffhanger was there, and I am hanging. I left out quite a bit in this review, namely about the world and the careful development of basically everything. You could read the book, which I advise you do, or at least visit this website for an in-depth description of anything related to Magic Unleashed, and more. So, what did we learn today, Gonchos? I suppose don't be a Roar. Embrace your emotions. Feel them fully and wholeheartedly, because this is what makes you human. Just stay away from flammable objects. Bye!